What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I know, look at the title, I know what each and every last one of you is saying. Big surprise, Spaz is doing another Cena video, but here's the thing. I'm not here to hate on Cena. I'm not here to hate on John Cena the person. I am here to, it's not a rant. Those of you, I know I have, people out there that have been asking me over and over and over again, when is Cenapocalypse 3 coming out? And to be honest with you, it probably won't. Because my issues aren't with John Cena, the man, anymore. I mean, the issues that I have with him as a performer, as an athlete, whatever, they haven't really changed, but they're not where my real issues lie anymore. My issues are with John Cena the character, John Cena WWE's Frankenstein, John Cena the Superman, the destroyer of worlds, the incorruptible as Vocal Aggression John has called him. My issue now is with the amount of credit that John Cena gets, and everybody's like, whoa, John Cena does a lot of great stuff. My issue is with all the areas where John Cena gets the credit that everybody deserves. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, and I'm going to try, like I say, like usual, got the do me clipboard, because, you know, I actually put some thought into what I say to you guys before I say it. My issue is with the credit that John Cena gets for things that, yes, he, but also the rest of the WWE roster, stars, personalities, etc. deserve as well. The first three are wrestling related, entertainment related, etc. It's my opinion at the end of the day, honestly. The other three are not wrestling related, and I will warn you right now, the second half of this video is going to have a very controversial tint to it. So once I move on from the third to the fourth issue, I will not be offended, I will not be surprised at all, and I will not take any issue with anybody that wants to switch the video off halfway through. I get it. I know the weight of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, and I hope that I can treat it with the respect that it deserves. And if you don't think I have, you know, the description box is down there for a reason. But there's a couple of situations, a couple of ideas, a couple of general thoughts that go around the WWE. Now, those that would back Cena are obviously going to find things to attribute to him, but the most white-hot thing in the WWE right now has got to be CM Punk, hasn't it? Now, there's an idea floating around that WWE would have you believe, that the Cena fans would have you believe, that the PG defenders, as WJ calls them, would have you believe, and that is that John Cena single-handedly made CM Punk a star. Now, CM Punk is a star. CM Punk, looking back on it, and I have, in the past week or so, gone back and looked at his debut in WWE's ECW. I watched him go from there. I watched him have his great feuds with guys like Miz, Morrison, Kofi Kingston, early days Sheamus, etc. CM Punk was a star long before he came to the WWE, and I won't speak to any of that. I go to guys like, I don't know, John or Alex, guys that know more about ROH or more about the indies than I do, by far, that knew that this guy was great coming in, much the same as somebody like a Daniel Bryan. This guy was a star when he came in, and he started proving it with his rivalries in ECW, and he has proven it over the years. Yes, with Cena, but also with a lot of other guys. Fantastic matches with Randy Orton. Diabolical, heel-driven rivalries with somebody like a Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, and here's a big shout-out to Preston. Rey Mysterio had a big part to play in CM Punk's rise. Whether anybody likes me saying it or not, Triple H, Kevin Nash, even though they never had a real match. Some of the women he's encountered over his time, da-da-da-da. And here's the thing. CM Punk was a star. He was a great wrestler. He was a great talent. He broke from the mid... I can speak, I swear. I'm going to get this shirt printed. But he broke from being a mid-carder that we knew could be in the main event to being a main eventer with the help and the assistance and the feuds of two guys. And one of them, I know all of you will agree with me on, no problem, and the other one I'm probably about to get kicked in the nuts for, but I don't care. And yes, I'm biased for both of them, and I will admit that up front. The two guys, or the two rivalries, or the one triple threat rivalry, however you want to look at it, that escorted CM Punk from the guy that deserved to be in the main event to the guy that was in the main event were Jeff Hardy and Edge. Now, do they deserve all the credit? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Am I saying this because, you know, I thought they helped him get his foot in the door? Absolutely. My opinion, you don't like it? Fuck yourself. Went on. Had great rivalries with the returning Chris Jericho, for example. Had great rivalries with, like I say, Orton, Rey Mysterio, recently Daniel Bryan, brief run-ins with Mark Henry and Big Show. For anybody that wants to throw that, oh, you can't beat the big guys, so you're not a real wrestler argument, you got those guys in there too. Now, one of CM Punk's defining moments, yes, was Money in the Bank 2011 WWE Championship match against John Cena. But it definitely wasn't because this is when he all of a sudden became a star. No, we all rallied behind CM Punk, who was supposed to be a heel at the time, because we knew he deserved the spot, and he had deserved it for a long time. Cena was the guy he had to beat to get there. Doesn't mean Cena was the one that brought him there. Did Cena contribute? Absolutely. Cena deserves as much credit as every other name I've just mentioned. From the guys that he feuded with on ECW, which was fantastic. Love to see Punk and John Morrison again if I could. Bottom line, there's a lot of people, a lot of feuds, a lot of build that has brought CM Punk to the way he is right now. John Cena is one of them. John Cena is not the one. Maybe now you have a better feeling, a better understanding of what I mean by John Cena does deserve credit. I don't like him. He doesn't entertain me in the slightest. And my phone is being a moron. He doesn't entertain me in the slightest. I don't like what he does in the ring. He doesn't do anything for me in the ring. But he deserves credit as much as everybody else I've just mentioned. Not over them. The next one is one I've harped on a million times. The idea that all of WWE's success and every single WWE pay-per-view buy is because of John Cena. We sold this many pay-per-views because of John Cena. Survivor Series failed because of The Miz. Yeah. WrestleMania was the biggest pay-per-view event ever because of John Cena. We sell all our pay-per-views because John Cena's there. Well, you know, the prime example is TLC. But that example gets overused. My response to that has always been, you will never know why people are buying a pay-per-view. Truly, in their hearts, why they are buying a pay-per-view, unless you sell the pay-per-view match by match, which WWE is never going to do, because then they will have to admit that they are wrong. My issues are with the WWE. My issues, like I say, are with John Cena, the WWE creation, not WWE, or not John Cena, the man. I really hope that that's starting to seep through to you. But think about that for a second. That means that WrestleMania, nobody was ordering to see The Rock. No, The Rock, who's that? He's no John Cena. He's no star. He's no third-generation star, multi-time champion, multi-time Mania main eventer. John Cena's nobody. Triple H and Undertaker. Nobody ordered WrestleMania to see The Undertaker and Triple H in Hell in the Cell. Shawn Michaels as referee. Who the fuck would want to see that? Right? Absolutely not. CM Punk, as I've said once again, the most white-hot superstar in the WWE right now, against one of the most anticipated returns in Chris Jericho. Wrestling clinic. Who the fuck would want to see that when we can see John Cena, right? Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Me personally, I'll speak for myself. I know that there's people out there that ordered it to see Rock versus Cena. Hell, I was curious to see what would happen. I was paranoid that they were going to bury The Rock, and they didn't, and I'll give them credit for that. There's, as much as I would like to call myself a WWE historian and say that the reason I ordered was for Triple H Undertaker, it wasn't. That was fantastic. I ordered it to see Jericho versus Punk. And that's the end of the line. I know that there are guys like Alex out there that legit wanted to see Bryan get his due at WrestleMania. Now, will we all sit back and deny that John Cena was a big part of WrestleMania? Absolutely not. But John Cena is not the reason WrestleMania was a success. People did not tune in to see John Cena versus John Laurinaitis or John Cena versus The Big Show when you got CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan on the card. People do not tune in to watch Cena fuck over Lesnar when we can get a great street fight between CM Punk and Chris Jericho. It's just not the case. Go poll the rest of the YWC. Go poll the casual fans. I guarantee you, I was tempted myself. I guarantee you that everybody that watched any pay-per-view in the last 4 months has been at least tempted to turn it off before the last match because everything that they were there to see had already happened. You can't say it. You can guess, you can estimate, you can use your botched and fixed merchandise sales numbers to say that John Cena is the most popular guy and use that to infer that that's the reason everybody's ordering your pay-per-views, but you can't state it for fact. You really, really can't. Unless you are willing to put the time, the effort, and the technology into selling your pay-per-views match by match, you will never truly know who the people are ordering the pay-per-views to see. And if you are honestly deluded enough to see that say that John Cena versus John Laurinaitis drew more money or drew more eyes or attention or legitimate, concern and curiosity than Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk. Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk, the two hottest new wrestlers, and yes, I have to do it in quotation marks because that's a bad word these days, the two hottest wrestlers in wrestling in WWE today, not to mention the fact that the indie following they have is massive and the cult following that rivalry has, transcends WWE. But no, we all bought a ticket or tuned into the pay-per-view to watch John Cena beat up his boss. It's ridiculous. John Cena does make his contributions to pay-per-view. I'm not saying he doesn't. He did take an ass-kicking from Lesnar before he bullshit beat him. He did, I will admit it, and I want everybody to listen to me right now. He did have a great match with The Rock at WrestleMania. And no, he didn't bury The Rock. Big surprise for me. I got my scalp. I moved on. I'm not burying John Cena, and I'm not saying he's never done anything. I'm not saying he hasn't picked up Big Show over his shoulders like 600 times, or whatever else you want to say that he's done. He picked up Big Show and Edge all at once, and he's FU'd Viscera, and he's FU'd Mark Henry. Yeah, he's a strong guy. He's an athletic guy. He doesn't entertain me. He entertains some people. I know that. He's great for the kids. I'll give him all the credit in the world for that. There's girls out there that think he's hot. I can't speak to arguments like that. I'm pretty sure there's guys that swing the other way that think he's a hot guy. No problem whatsoever. You go drool over him, do whatever you need to do, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. None of that is a factor to me. I will not deny that when John Cena and CM Punk get in the ring together, that I'm invested. But as I've said before, I'm invested in that match for way, way more reasons than what just literally happens in the ring. I have decided. I said it here. I said it on Wrestling Paradise multiple times that I do with Alex. Everybody please go check out Wrestling Paradise YT on YouTube. We've moved to YouTube for those of you that don't know, etc. But I've said a million times, John Cena versus CM Punk symbolizes the fans versus the WWE. Do the fans get what they want, or does the WWE get what they want? And yes, that makes for an intriguing match. And yes, John Cena is a part of that intriguing match. But he's a part. He deserves credit for his part. He does not deserve the credit of a guy that's carried the whole company on his back. If you oversell him, nobody will want to give him credit for what he's actually done. Third, here we go. Here's where we start getting into the more serious, the more controversial stuff. His arm injury and his leg injury at Night of Champions. Leg injury at Night of Champions, yeah, you roll your ankle, it hurts like a son of a bitch. You get it dealt with, and my phone is being special. You roll your ankle, you do all kinds of crazy things. It swells up like a motherfucker. You take the night off, whatever. Don't wish it on anybody. But it's not the end of the world, and it's not the end of the world if we don't see John Cena on Raw 1 week. His elbow, that's fucked up. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but he had loose particles of bone floating around in his elbow. That's not only really, really disgusting and really, really painful sounding, that's really unpleasant for everybody involved. He went and he got it dealt with. And I'm happy for him, and he's recovering, and I'm happy for him, and he'll be back in 6 weeks, and I'm happy for him as a human being. Here's my problem. How much press has that elbow injury gotten? How much is it all over Twitter? Is it all over YouTube? Is it all over WWE.com? How many, this week on Raw, how many graphics of John Cena in the sling did we get before we saw him at the end of the night? How much are we going to hear from John Cena about his injury in the weeks to come? How much are we going to see, video highlights of, him getting his elbow fixed, or pictures before and after and all that sort of thing? Here's my thing. John Cena deserves a lot of credit. John Cena deserves, if he's injured, first and foremost, he deserves to take time off to deal with his injury, and they're not letting him do that. He needs to be Superman, and that's not fair to anybody because he can't wrestle, which means he's taking time away on TV from the people that can wrestle. Number one. Number two, let him go rest. Let him go rest. Number three, let's think about all the other people that have been injured recently. I mean, Wade Barrett's been injured, Christian's been injured, Mark Henry's been injured for a while now, Triple H has been injured, HBK over the course of his career was injured a lot, Orton's been injured, Ray's been injured. Ask a guy like Preston how many times Ray's been injured, and do any of these guys get nearly the amount of press, the amount of sympathy, the amount of tribute videos, etc., 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 that John Cena does? Now, am I trying to sensationalize their injuries? Absolutely not. In fact, I'm asking WWE not to sensationalize John Cena's injury, to let him go back and recoup and recover and whatever. But if he's going to be injured, tell us the following week that he's had surgery, that he's been injured, etc., etc. Let him go home. Let him, go play with his dogs or hang out with his brothers and sisters or whatever the hell he needs to do to relax. I mean, I saw his arm. His arm looks like a tree branch, and it's all black and blue and purple, and the pictures are circling the internet as they will. And none of it is good. And as much as I've shit on John Cena in the past couple of years, I don't want to see the guy legit injured. I've wanted him to kayfabe an injury so that other people could get a shot. Never wished, physical bodily harm on the guy. That's been my big bone of contention with a lot of people. But let him go home. If he's injured, let him go home and be injured. Christian got injured, we didn't see him forever. Ray got injured, we didn't see him forever. Orton got injured, and yeah, he got a bit of fanfare when he got back, but it got back to status quo again. Wade Barrett got injured, came back, he was built up for a big comeback, and then never got it. Sin Cara was injured. Now, granted, there were also drug issues involved, but, he came back to not much fanfare. It's nice to see him back, and then he just went about his business. John Cena we'll get video package and we'll get, talking segments and this and that and the next thing. So we'll never get a chance to miss him. We'll never get a chance to, pity him. I hate to say it that way, but we'll never get a chance to pity him. And then when they try to welcome him back like he's been gone for 6 weeks, we're all going to be like, what the fuck? He never left. And here's the last thing I want to say, and here's where it really, really gets bothersome for me. Yeah, John Cena's been injured. John Cena's gone under major surgery. He's gone under the knife. I won't take that away from him. That's a traumatic experience for anybody. You know who else has gone under the knife in the past 2 weeks? Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler had a heart attack 2 weeks ago, folks. Jerry Lawler was legally dead, I think they said, for 20 minutes. Legally dead. I'm sorry. By comparison to that, you fucked up your elbow. You had to go get it fixed. I guarantee you, John Cena's elbow injury will get more attention in the long run from WWE and all their media outlets than Jerry Lawler's heart attack, and that's disgusting. I'm not saying we need to sensationalize Jerry Lawler's heart attack either. I'm not saying that they need to benefit from that. I'm really, really questioning the whole, get well king shirts that they're selling now and whatever, but that's another video for another time. But what I'm saying is, because it's John Cena, a banged up elbow gets more attention, not more sympathy, but more focus that is supposed to well up sympathy than a guy who nearly lost his life, and that's fucking sad. Jerry Lawler was interviewed this past week on Raw, via satellite from Memphis, and not even a few segments later, we had John Cena out there, hustle, loyalty, and bullshit with his sling popping around like nothing's happening, and with one arm, still taking out the WWE champion with a pipe. You're not the only one in WWE that's ever been injured, John Cena. I'm sorry that you did, but you're not the first, you won't be the last, and it's not different because it happened to you. Okay, the last three I'm going to mention here, not a lot of people are going to like. So I'm giving you the opportunity, I'm giving you the fair warning and the advanced warning right now to turn this video off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, next one's Be a Star. Now let me say it, Be a Star is a great theory. Be a Star, a bunch of guys that spend their life, their TV life, their employed adult career life, beating the crap out of each other, going around to schools and high schools and middle schools all over the states, whatever, and encouraging kids not to bully each other, because the message will mean even more coming from them than it will coming from anybody else. The irony speaks for itself. It's a great idea. I don't know how much participation John Cena actually has in it, you know, in the behind the scenes, in the production of the whole thing. I really don't know, so I really can't say. But we see the clips, we see the newspaper articles, we see the interviews, etc. You've got people like Mark Henry, you've got people like The Big Show, David Otunga, which is kind of an odd choice, Stephanie McMahon, who's a great spokesperson who nobody gives enough credit to at all, just because she's, you know, the boss's, you know, the future boss's wife. You know, she still does her own thing, and what she does is fantastic, because I think she's very good at it. I've heard her speak. I've seen videos on YouTube of her doing public speaking on the Be a Star campaign, and she's fantastic at it. I really, really do want to shine light on the fact that Stephanie McMahon is great at what she does. But on screen, in the ring, who's the one preaching all the, you know, rise above and don't hate each other and we're all going to get along and we'll all persevere, all the Sesame Street bullshit that you figure would go along with a campaign like Be a Star? And I'm sorry, it's one of John Cena's shirts, and it's not one of the more recent ones, but it is one of the John Cena logo shirts that has the Be a Star logo on it. So what does that tell everybody that's just coming into the room for the first time and looking at their TV screen and watching what's going on? Hey, this guy must be the head of the Be a Star campaign. This guy must be their poster boy, their spokesperson, etc., etc., etc. Completely undermining, completely television-wise undermining and undercutting the efforts of everybody else that's going around, riding in buses, riding in cabs, riding in cars and trains and planes and whatever, going out to talk to all these kids to give this great message. But no, once again, that spotlight entirely turns to John Cena. And it's not fair. If John Cena is part of the the Be a Star campaign, if he's done stuff behind the scenes, if he's, you know, gone out there and he's been part of rallies that I haven't seen personally, then that's great. And he deserves credit for it. But he deserves credit for it along with everybody else. I'm sorry, David Otunga's not a main eventer, but I've seen him speak at more of these things than I have John Cena. Mark Henry, it's questionable if he's a main eventer. I still am not 100% on that. Big Show, I'm not a fan of either. You guys know that. Anybody that's watched any more than one of my videos knows that I'm not a fan of the Big Show. But he's consistently a part of it. He's in every highlight package I've seen of the Be a Star campaign. It's been Stephanie McMahon, David Otunga, and either Mark Henry or the Big Show. Sometimes Sheamus. And you guys know how I feel about good old Flaming Mayo, but I've seen it. It's there. This guy puts a logo on the back of his shirt, acts like the spokesperson, and just gets on with his day, or at least that's how it appears, and it's offensive. It's not only offensive, it's downright insulting to everybody else, regardless of whether we like them or not, for what they do in the ring, for their character, whatever. This is shit they're doing outside the ring, and everybody's doing their part. Everybody is doing their part, whether they're doing it for their own personal reasons, whether they're doing it because of their genuine philanthropic, you know, efforts, whether they're doing it because somebody else made them, whether they're doing it because WWE said it's your turn. They've all done it, and John Cena gets the credit. John Cena gets the nod. John Cena gets the spotlight, the cheers, the kudos, the congratulations. Anyways, that's Be a Star. We move on to something else, and this is where I will, more than anything else, give John Cena a lot of credit. John Cena has granted over 300 wishes for Make-A-Wish. That is fantastic. That's one of those things where I can put my dislike for him aside. That's one of those things that I point to when people come at me with all the, oh, why do you watch wrestling? It's all bullshit. They're all roid-headed idiots that don't give a fuck about anybody, and they're all living more drugged up than rock stars, and they don't give a fuck, and da-da. That's one of those things I point to and say that's why I'm proud to be a wrestling fan. And that's John Cena. And I will sit here right now and give him the credit he deserves for that. 300 is a lot. He's granted more than anybody else in recent history, I'm willing to bet. But again, he's not the only one. You're never going to see video packages of The Miz granting wishes, because it's a heel and it'll damage his character. Fuck off. Flip over the phone. You're never going to see, right now, Kane granting a Make-A-Wish, or Eve Torres, or, you know, some kid genuinely wanted to see Hornswoggle. Some kid you might see Ryder. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody other than Cena. You're not going to see Dolph Ziggler granting a wish for Make-A-Wish. If somebody here's this. If some kid out there for Make-A-Wish legitimately wished to see Vicky Guerrero, do you think you'd ever see it on TV? No. No, because John Cena's the guy. Every time they do a promo package for Make-A-Wish, it's John Cena talking about it. Every time you do this, every time you do that. And I get it, he's the main guy, you want to show that your main talent is doing stuff. But I'm sure Randy Orton's done Make-A-Wish. I know for a fact Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, all those guys did Make-A-Wish. Hulk Hogan does Make-A-Wish. Jeff Hardy does Make-A-Wish. There was a big 20-minute thing I saw on some TNA.com thing, it was like a year ago, and it was Jeff Hardy doing his Make-A-Wish thing and whatever, and then he was out there and he was talking, and when he was talking about the other guys in TNA that had had fun with Make-A-Wish. He actually got a chance to talk about WWE and the work that he had done with Make-A-Wish while he was there, which is great and wonderful, but you wouldn't know it because the only person that gets the credit for doing it is John Cena, so you have to assume, or, you know, the layman watching TV would have to assume that John Cena is carrying the weight of Make-A-Wish on his back by himself. And I'm sorry, that's disgusting. You've gone from a completely legitimate, great cause to using all these kids that are in the most dire situations in the world to boost the character of John Cena. And that's disgusting. I don't know what I can say. I really, really don't. I can't deny that it's great. But again, he deserves credit. So do a lot of other people that will never get it. And most recently, WWE's partnership with the Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Now, I've known people with cancer. I've known people with family members that have died of cancer. I've known friends and family of friends that have died of cancer. I wouldn't wish cancer on my worst fucking enemy. I really wouldn't, and I take that seriously into heart and all that sort of thing. I was listening to TwitWow today while I was on my break. Anybody who doesn't know what TwitWow is, it's the podcast that John Vocal Aggression does with Ashton Ionizel, and most people know my feelings of Ashton, and most of my feelings of Ashton you can find somewhere swirling the toilet bowl. But he said something on TwitWow this week, and he said it point blank, and he said it boldly, and I have to agree. And WWE, when you've got me and Ashton on the same page, you fucked up something somewhere. WWE needs to not use this coalition. They need to not use Susan G. Komen for the Cure as their own promotional tool. And that's exactly what they're doing for John Cena. Let's think about this for a second. Who's been interviewed about this? And yes, I know, John Cena had a lot to do with bringing this partnership together. And I respect that a lot. I really do. But who's got the t-shirt? John Cena's got the t-shirt. Once again, he goes out there, he's in pink. Now, the announcers have little tiny ribbons on, and, you know, the referees have little tiny ribbons on, and all the female valets have little tiny ribbons on. John Cena's the one that got his own gimmick turned into the Let's Fight Cancer thing. I don't see why they needed to do the whole rise above thing. I get it. I can understand if they had taken the black, white, red, and blue rise above hate shirt and turned that into a rise above cancer shirt, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I would almost be up here convincing people to do it because it is a great cause. Tell me why, if you're legitimately doing this out of the goodness of your heart, WWE, why you had to make the Let's Fight Cancer shirt and plaster John Cena's face on the front of it. Tell me why it had to be John Cena's, Let's Fight Cancer merch. Why couldn't it have just been, this is our WWE Susan G. Komen partnership apparel, you can get it at your local WWE.com, whatever. Not only that, he's the only one flamboyantly wearing pink. Now, I'm not advocating every person wearing pink for every match, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. There are people that just naturally in their everyday lives, in their everyday working, whatever, have pink in their attire. Natalya Neidhart has pink in her attire. Tyson Kidd does, or at least did. Damian Sandow, even though I don't like him, has pink tights, whatever. And Dolph Ziggler, as we saw made fun of by Chris Jericho, has the big pink and blue t-shirt, the "it's not showing off if you back it up" shirt. All of them have been instructed not to wear pink, so that to bring focus to the cancer-related John Cena apparel. Now let's think about that for a second. They want to visually make you believe, and visually, this is not about, who says what, who does what, but visually, wearing pink is supposed to be the big thing to support breast cancer. So visually, WWE wants your eyeballs to think that John Cena is the only one that gives a shit about breast cancer, and he's carrying the entire weight of breast cancer on his shoulders, and he's gonna fight the illness single-handedly, and that is fucking disgusting. That is fucking disgusting. And at the end of the day, why is WWE doing this? They're doing it right now to give themselves a pat on the back, which is fine. That's what happens in every charitable organization. Any company that does anything for charity is eventually going to pat themselves on the back. I don't mind that. It's when they can look at John Cena and say, well, you can't boo him now because he's supporting breast cancer. You can't say his t-shirts are Fruity Pebble bullshit anymore because one of those colors has to do with cancer. Da-da-da. Nobody else can wear pink because we're focusing on making John Cena look good right now. Da-da-da-da. And when we flash back, like when the Susan G. Komen campaign is over, because I believe it's only until the end of October that this is going to be happening, they should be supporting it all. If they're going to say they support something, they should be supporting it all the time. That's another point for another time. But when this is all said and done and over with, when John Cena's career is over and they do big old crowd shots of every time John Cena came to the ring, and everybody's got their Susan G. Komen for the Cure t-shirt that they got guilt-tripped into buying, because if you don't buy this t-shirt for the Cure, then you're a bad person. So everybody buys the Susan G. Komen shirt, which is great. All kinds of money for cancer research, but at the end of the day, they can pan across the crowd and say, look how popular John Cena is, look at all those John Cena shirts. It's a scam. And as much as it burns the inside of my soul to say it, Ashton was right. WWE is using this coalition. Much as it pains me to say it, they're using the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they are manipulating the hell out of their own Be a Star campaign. And what's it all for? It's all for this great idea that they're going to build John Cena to be unbooable. All these great things that the WWE does, and each and every one of them is perverted and twisted and shifted and altered and crunched up and bent and folded and reformed around John Cena. First three examples I gave you were an example of how John Cena's carrying the whole company on his back by himself. The second three examples, which is a lot more disturbing, is how John Cena's solving all the ills of the world by himself. I have nothing against I have very little against John Cena the person. I have a lot against John Cena the creation, the Frankenstein of the WWE. That's it. And frustrations like this, guys, the more I think about it, and the entire time I've been watching wrestling, I remember when John Cena debuted against Kurt Angle, and I've gone the entire gambit with him. I've gone from being intrigued to being kind of excited to being disappointed to thinking he was lame to just flat out being bored to being irritated to being frustrated to being downright enraged to having my intelligence insulted, now to being downright disgusted. These are my issues with the WWE creation known as John Cena. And that's about it. That's all I got. I know a lot of people are going to have a lot to say about what I've just said. So, you know, you guys know the drill. Pop it in the box below. But, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Or respond to mine. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to all of you guys later. Bye.
Get up, come on.